Welcome back to Straight Facts. Brand new intro. You feature now, boys. Your faces are up in lights.
Famous now. I feel like I've made it now. Do you know what I mean?
Now, you made it ages ago, bruv. You know, both of you did. Like when you were part of City Extra, LB, didn't you guys win like the football content awards like 4 years running or something? Ridiculous.
Yeah, man. All because of me. Yeah.
I haven't won it since LB's gone. I ain't won it since. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Maybe they have. Maybe they haven't. Who knows? But yeah, I think they won it like three or four times in a row, man.
Yeah, they did. They smashed it. And obviously Dan there, AFTV superstar.
Man, I don't know about that. AFTV contributor, I would say. But yeah, no, big up, man. Big up. Always a pleasure, man. That's good. It's about time we got the intro in, man. That's good. Good intro.
I know. KJ was off for a month getting married, so it was a little bit delayed. But yeah, it's good that it's up. Viewers, make sure like buttons have been hit. Make sure you're subscribing. Already 1,000 of you watching a minute in, which is ridiculous. So thank you very much indeed. Loads to talk about today on the show. Ten Hag's sacking. Arsenal versus Chelsea tonight. We're going to be talking about Bruno Guimarães with City and Arsenal looking at him. Another midfield tear up between those two in the transfer window. And Gary O'Neill to Liverpool as well is on the agenda today. Loads to go into, but the first topic I wanted to get your boys' opinions on is Erik ten Hag. Big stories circulating today that no matter what happens in the FA Cup final, he will be dismissed this forthcoming summer. I don't know if that's a massive surprise to anybody at all, but after watching Man United in the FA Cup semi-final, are you surprised to see these stories a couple of days later?
No, I'm not surprised. No. I'm not surprised at all. And I actually called it. I think that it would not surprise me if it's announced that he's leaving at the end of the season before the final even took place. Like a generic sort of statement that's put out, like at the end, after the FA Cup final, Erik ten Hag will leave Manchester United. The club and everyone wishes him all the best for the final. You know what I mean? And we're all pulling together for the final. It wouldn't surprise me if they release some sort of statement like that. Yeah, because for me, it's just, you know, what's happening is just shocking. I mean, you guys should be celebrating that you're in another FA Cup final. You won the game. Now, some people will just focus on the fact that you won, and at the end of the day, a win's a win. But when you're 3-0 up against Championship side, Coventry, and the way that Coventry come back and played, and, you know, very unlucky in the end not to go through, you know, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to the football club, man. And listen, everything, in my opinion, is top down. Now, for that particular game, I think you have to look at the players. I think the way the players handled themselves on the pitch was shocking. But ultimately, it's another game which United fans are embarrassed, and the manager has to take the responsibility. It's always been that way. You know what I mean? The managers ultimately, you know, are responsible for what goes on the football pitch. And like I say, some people are not bothered. Some people are like, we got to a final, don't care how we got there. But you've got to look at that. I mean, 3-0 up and to see what happened. I mean, on another day, you guys could have been out. You know, you went through on penalties. It's not like you went through any other way. You went through on pens, like the luckiest way. So I just think, like, he's had his time. He's not demonstrated to me, yeah, as a football fan, that he is capable of managing a club like Manchester United. He's not shown to me any of the fundamental things that you'd want to see from him, i.e. the playing style. The playing style's still not there. It's 2 years into the play. He has fallouts with players, yeah. You know, it's just poor. Everything about it poor. His talent ID sucks. His transfers have been shocking. He's wasted the best part of 300 million quid. You know what I mean? At Man United, that's Man United's money that he's spent and wasted. It's just shocking. So I think it is time for him to go. Wouldn't surprise me if they announced it before the FA Cup final. I think he'd still take charge of that game. But yeah, I think it's time. And these new guys that are coming in, man. I said this at the time. These guys are not messing around. Do you know what I mean? This Jim Ratcliffe guy, yeah, he knows what he's doing. You know, he knows what he's doing because he's appointed everyone that knows what they're doing. He's got the guy from City. It looks like you're getting the guy from Newcastle, I think it is. He's got a couple of other people in there. He's not coming in doing a Todd Bowley, mate, at Chelsea, going, oh, I know what's best. I'm a billionaire and I've made it in business, so automatically I'll know how to run a football club. No. He knows that that's not how to run a football club. He's aware, and this is what, for me, the smartest people do. they recognise when there's smarter people available to do a job. And that's what he's doing. He's getting people in. And these people are no more. You know what I mean? Omar Barada, this guy from Newcastle, Wilcox, these guys will know that Ten Hag is massively disappointed. And I do not personally believe that they're looking at him thinking he has got the ability to manage this team. So I think he's going to get fired. Now, who you get in, that's the next question, a very difficult question. But I would be shocked to see Ten Hag. And I think he's arrogant as well. I think he's an arrogant man. He's a very arrogant man. I think he should have humbled himself when he come to Man United. It was a tough task anyway. And he come in, giving it the big end. You know what I mean? Aries could give it to an end. And then he said some other stuff. And the way he handled the Ronaldo situation and then the Sancho situation, like, I just think he thinks he's the big I am. And I just think he needed to just humble himself a little bit. He didn't have the authority. Like, if Simeone had done that, fairs. If Zidane had done that, fairs. If Mourinho had done it, fairs. These guys have earned it through what they've done in the game. Ten Hag's not done anything to warrant some of the stuff that he's said and done. So, yeah, he's gone, man.
What do you reckon, Dad?
Listen, you have to decide as a fan base, as a Man United fan, because ultimately me and LB don't really care, do we, right? We don't support the club. But if you're looking at this football-wise, right, I hope you stay in the mud because obviously I can't stand Man United, right? But if you look at it from a Man United perspective as a fan base, you've got two options. Either Erik ten Hag needs a structure ahead of him before we can actually properly work him out. And we've seen enough on the pitch to think, actually, this guy's got something about him. And I think he deserves another chance with a better structure ahead of him. That's number one. Or number two is this guy's clueless and hasn't got a clue. And even with a structure ahead of him, we can do better. And I don't know how any Man United fan can't pick the latter, because I have seen nothing on the pitch in almost 2 years that you've got any form of style of play. I haven't seen him improve any of the players that are out there. I haven't seen any mentality shift in the players to think, actually, this guy's got them really drilled and understood that they don't muck around underneath him. And could you do better than Ten Hag in terms of a manager? Absolutely. But what I will say, I don't think the fans should be giving him a lot of stick in terms of the players that he's brought in, because he's not a scout, right? That to me lies purely with the people ahead of him, because he can say, look, I can bring in the players that I think are going to do the business for me that did well for me in Ajax. But that to me should not be go on then, give it a go and see how you get on with.
Nah, but I disagree with that though, Potsy. I disagree. I understand what you're saying about there should be someone above him overseeing what he's doing. But he's gone
Absolutely,
from Ajax.
there should be.
No. But you can't tell me. He's gone from Ajax to Manchester United and then thought that, you know, Anthony could do a job at Manchester United. Malacia could do a job. I think he was at Feyenoord or something at Manchester United. Like, he signed the players, bro.
So you think it's okay for a football club to give a manager all the say in who he signs? Like, you go and sign you, we're not going to give you any help at all. You go and scout these players. He's not a scout, bro. He's not a scout. That's mad.
No, but he's still a football man. He's still a football man, bro. Is he though?
I am sitting on the fence here. I agree with both of you in terms of where you're coming from. Ten Hag has picked bad players and deserves criticism. But ultimately, I agree with Dan that we should never have allowed that to be the case, because
100%.
Even Pep and Klopp don't pick all of their own players. They have a lot of say. And ironically, you speak to most Liverpool fans, most of Klopp's picks haven't been as good as the Edwards picks. Edwards and co pick much better players, according to a lot of Liverpool fans, than Klopp has done. And I think that's absolutely key here. Look, I think he's gone and had done for a while. I understand that Man United fans want to defend him. And look, I was a little bit proud of him today when he was sort of pushing back at the media, because I do think the media's 2-day pile-on with Anthony cupping his ears and the way it's been a bit excessive. And what I mean by that is I've actually saw one journalist say this is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen from a Premier League football club. And I thought to myself, well, that isn't true, is it? We've seen some football clubs wear T-shirts defending racism. So let's not go over the top when it comes to what's the most embarrassing thing a football club in England has done. It was turned out that some of our big clubs in England were covering up paedophilia for 30 or 40 years. So let's not pretend that getting through on penalties in the FA Cup is the most embarrassing moment in English football history. Let's just slow it down a bit. But he's got to go. And nobody that I've seen defending him has yet to give a reason why he should stay. And all the usual shit comes out. But the players, most of these players have got to go as well. And they will over the course of time. The board needs to go. It's a brand new football decision-making board that's coming into the football club. Every single element needs to change. It's not about one or the other or this low-hanging fruit. Sorry to get nasty here, but this low-hanging fruit bullshit that I see from so many content creators. Sell him and we're fixed. Sack him and we'll be back. All of them have been wrong for the past 10 years. And I've said it every single time we've sacked a manager. Unless deep-rooted change is made at the top, nothing is going to improve. And that's why I get a lot of shit now from people online, because they're starting to realize, maybe it's not just me, Terry, Neeks, KJ, so many of us for years, Indiana, if you're watching, Canadian Cam, we've all sat there and said it. Like, I remember doing an Ollie out debate once, and we all just sat there and said to the Ollie outers, do you really think we're going to get any better if we don't change anything at board level? Yeah, we've got a squad that can win the league. Look where we are now. All the Ollie outers were wrong because they thought that was the problem, and it wasn't. But what I love about Ineos and what you said that's so true, Lewis, is there's even an article today which people are twisting. And they're looking at it as a negative. And I read it and it's music to my ears. This is a segment from it where it says that Man United under Ineos realize they cannot swing wildly from one system to another just to fit a coach. And certainly not when they are yet to begin the process of gradually unpicking a Frankenstein squad. And there are Man United fans going, this just shows they're going to scrimp and scrape. We're going to end up with a crap manager. No, they're literally saying that they need to fixate on a style of football and pick managers that suit it. But we have to be patient and understand that we have to undo the mess before we create a good squad. And that's why some of the elite level managers, they may not even be attractive for us. If you walk up to Zidane and go, look, it's going to take 3 years to build the squad, and he goes, I'm not up for that, you walk away from him as well. Because if you bring someone in under false pretenses, it will fail. And that is what we've done wrong for the last 10 years. The proof's in the pudding, and it always will be. But everything so far I've seen and heard from Ineos has been, again, it's about 95% of the stuff I've been spouting for a decade. What we need to fix, how long it's going to take, patience is needed, and we might need to start with the Graham Potter. Not because I think Ineos go, he's the best in the world for us. But maybe Graham Potter is at the right stage of his career where he'll individually tolerate the beginning of this, what could be a very painful beginning to a rebuild where you strip the team out. And I was trying to explain this to United fans in a group chat the other day. And honestly, it was like I was talking to a Martian. They're like, would you get rid of Varane in front of Maguire? And I said, not in terms of ability, no. But if Varane doesn't want to be at the club anymore and Maguire does, you start a rebuild by the first players you get rid of are players that don't want to be there. That's the first thing you do. Over ability, it's players that don't want to be there or players that are problematic. That's first point of call. You could be very lucky and cross-pollinate, and it could be people that don't want to be there and they lack the technical ability, and that's great. But that's the first thing they're going to do, because they're not going to get rid of 23 players in one summer. So you have to prioritize who actually wants to be here and who's going to work hard for the new manager, who's going to help us implement this new style and give it 100%, and who doesn't. But their brains can't compute. They're like, no, we just need to go and buy 3 or 4 top-class players, get a top-class manager, and we'll be back.
Yeah, so, no. The squad is not
crazy.
The squad is not at the level required to do that. You know, a lot of people like to use this phrase, go get a win now manager. Yeah? Everyone, I don't know if you saw this 5 years ago, but everyone likes to talk about this win now manager thing. There's no point in getting a win now manager unless you've got a squad that can win now.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
People say, what would Pep Guardiola do if you throw him into Rotherham?
Struggle.
Probably not win the Champions League. Probably wouldn't win the Premier League because you don't have the squad. Pep Guardiola always says, it's not me, it's the players that win the leagues. People just ignore that. Manchester United, over the last decade, have been run into the ground so badly. And actually, I think the only reason that some fans are not getting how bad it is because, as I've always said, because of the amount of money you spent, you've actually carried on winning trophies over the years. You know what I mean? You've won a Carabao Cup here, a Europa League there, an FA Cup here. But you're always going to do that when you're spending £1 billion. And I'm not saying that to have a dig. That's just a fact.
Yes,
but ultimately, that squad is absolutely shambolic. And I agree with you. The first players I'd be getting rid of is the big hitters and the older players. Yeah, so Casemiro, get rid of him. Get rid of the likes of Varane. Obviously, Sancho's probably done and dusted now, so he needs to go. And actually, someone like a Maguire, who, you know what? I've got to say, right, this guy's been memed to hell and back over the last years, yeah, since he joined Manchester United. This guy has had it rough. Every single fan in the world has cooked this guy one way or another. And don't say you've not, you have. He's been a bad signing for him. But you know what? He's always out there training. He's always the one that's going out there putting a shift in. Now, I won't want him at my club, and I'm sure Dan won't want him at his club. You know what I mean? He's not good enough. But, you know, at least he actually trying. There's some players that play for United, and you can just tell they can't be asked. The likes of Rashford. Oh, mate, he needs to go. Yeah, he's had his time. Bruno's up for debate. Personally, if it was me, I'd get rid of him as well, just because I think he's a toxic character to have around the squad. And I think you guys need to think about the bigger picture. You know, and you need to come together. And I don't think you're going to be able to do that if he's there, because there's too many United fans that want him out, and start again. But as you said, this isn't going to happen overnight. United are not going to be challenging for the Premier League, in my opinion, for at least 3 years. At least 3 years, especially if Pep and Arteta stay at Arsenal and City, because Arsenal and City are ready now and they're built. United are in the gutter, mate.
I agree in terms of, I would say at least 3 years. If we were able to fast track that and it happened quicker, then great. But that's where my expectations lie. This is a comment from Mark. He says, wait. Are we not in a rebuild? So we are starting over. Good luck, United fans, being patient with another manager. But we are not in a rebuild, Mark. This is, I mean this with the biggest respect. And please, I very rarely say this, but please take what I'm saying as the truth. We never started a rebuild under any of these managers. The club, as in Woodward and Co., lied to us. How do we know? Because the same football decision makers were there. There was no club plan on how to play football. We've done the same thing 5 managers running. We've tried the Fergie approach of letting the manager run and control the club. It doesn't work anymore. Managers are not even trained and brought up through the ranks of football to be managers of football clubs. They're developed to be head coaches at football clubs. There's a fundamental difference between those roles. Pep and Klopp are probably the 2 best managers in the world. Ancelotti as well. Ancelotti's the only one of them I would probably trust running a club because he's from that generation. I wouldn't let Klopp run a football club. I'd let him manage the team. I wouldn't let him run the football club. It's not what he's trained to do. We have not had a rebuild at Man United in the last decade. It's all been false promises and lies. This is the first official one the club has ever had. Facts. This point also says, at some point, you have to break the manager cycle. For me, players better be crapping themselves on Wilcock becoming Ten Hag's new boss. Proxy CEO, yes, you do need to break the manager cycle, but you break it now at the beginning of the rebuild. You clear out all the crap and you start again from fresh, because everybody holds a level of accountability in the failings at Man United. The bit that I get frustrated with is I don't understand why Man United fans still, after a decade of people like myself kind of spouting this, it's still being denied when the new owners are telling you this is how we're going to fix it. When every single club that's doing well, when they break down how they've built their success, they build it how Ineos are saying they're going to set things up. I don't know why. It's like listening. It's like Gordon Ramsay telling you this is how to successfully run a restaurant. And people going, nah, bollocks. What do you know? It's weird to me. It's so, I'm not saying I'm Gordon Ramsay. I'm talking about the other football clubs that are doing it well, to specify. But yeah, look, I'm happy to be in the final. I want us to win it still. I really, really do. But I am glad to see the stories today that he will be leaving irrespective and the plans we've got in place, because what happened at the weekend, we need to move so far away from that and quickly. We need to improve how we play football, and we need to get this club back on track. But viewers, let us know what you think. Let us know what you feel about Ten Hag being on his way out. Managerial changes. We saw yesterday that Ruben Almiron has said no currently to the Liverpool offer that has come through. A lot of people thought it was a done deal, but then Liverpool's offer hasn't been good enough for the manager, so he said no. It has now come to light today, LB, that Gary O'Neill has been interviewed for the Liverpool job. He used to be a coach at Liverpool, which I think a few people that don't support them were a little bit shocked that maybe they didn't know that. But Gary O'Neill to Liverpool is on, and interviews are underway.
Yeah, I actually called this the other day on when I was speaking about it. I think he's a good manager. He is, you know. I mean, what he done at Bournemouth was very underrated. I thought he got unfairly fired. I know Ariola's doing a decent job now, but he done a good job there. Fantastic job at Wolves. I love watching Wolves, the way they play. They play some mega football. You know, they got some top players there as well. He's a good manager. The question is he a big enough name? Is he a big enough name? Will he command the respect? I mean, this job at Liverpool after Klopp, man. I mean, these players adore him. I don't know if you guys seen the Trent Alexander-Arnold interview that he done with Neville. and he said like it's going to be weird. Like he doesn't because I don't think he's never worked under a manager other than Klopp for Liverpool. So it's going to be difficult, man. I like Gary Neville, but it's brave. It's a brave call, Gary O'Neill. Sorry, I think it's a brave call, man, because he's not had this big job. But I don't know. I just don't know where Liverpool go for me, Terry. I don't know, man. I'm looking at Liverpool now and I'm thinking, is Salah going to leave? If Salah leaves, Klopp leaves. Do you know what I mean? Trent's only got 18 months on a contract. Oh, but he's a Scouser. He'll never leave. Right. Okay. Yeah. Because we've seen that before. You know what I mean? Like, I just think Liverpool are in a dodgy position. And before any Liverpool fans get rattled, I'm aware that when Pep leaves, it'll be the same for my club as well. I think not getting Alonso has screwed them over big time. Because I just don't know where you go from here. And then I listened to Hussam, and Hussam was saying, go and get Mourinho. And we were just speaking about, yeah. So he said, go get Mourinho. We were speaking about win now managers. Now, obviously, I know Mourinho's probably fallen down the Terry, let me put a case. Let me put a case forward. You've got Salah in there. You got Van Dijk. You got Alisson. You got Trent. You got the likes of Jota, McAllister. You have a very, very good team there at Liverpool. Now, some of these players potentially, I'm just throwing out there, potentially might go. Klopp's leaving. If we're getting Gary O'Neill, you think Salah's staying around for Gary O'Neill? If the Saudis are offering this guy £1 million a week tax free, you think he's going to stay around for Gary O'Neill? I'm just going to throw it out there. I'd probably say he probably won't. However, if the club say to Salah, give us 1 more year with Jose Mourinho, we're going to bring him in, and the aim is to win as much as we possibly can in this 1 year, then go to Saudi. Like, we're giving it everything. We're going to give him 150, 200 million. Yeah, he's going to be able to buy more players. We've already got Alisson, we've got Van Dijk, we've got Trent, we've got McAllister, we've got Salah. We're going to give him 200 million. Give us 1 more year, and Mourinho's a winner, and we'll go and win some. We'll go win the Prem. We'll go win the Champions League or something. Then maybe they'll stay. And that buys them another year, Terry. It buys them an extra year, or maybe 2 years, if he stays 2 years, to see what the likes of De Zerbi do. Because at the moment, I'm not taking De Zerbi at my club yet, because it's too early. We give him another year at Brighton. Maybe he does something special at Brighton next season. And all of a sudden you're thinking, actually, he might be that guy. But if you don't get Mourinho, who are you going to get? Who are you going to get? This is literally like, there's no one out there for me that is. So what's the point in getting a Gary O'Neill? Why would Gary O'Neill be a manager than getting Mourinho? I know he's not everyone's cup of tea. And I know he doesn't really fit the Liverpool mold and philosophy. But they've got a team capable of winning the Champions League, capable of winning the Premier League. So why would you not get him? Why would you get Gary O'Neill? Oh, for the project. I just think, go and get him for a year or two. What's the worst that could happen? Famous words, isn't it? But what's the worst that could happen, man?
For me, I don't think Mourinho would be wanted by Liverpool fans. But I also agree with you, LB, that it's the option that says, I win things now. And Liverpool are a club that need to win things now. They don't need another project just because Klopp's going. They've got a team there that's like, at the moment, 2 points off the top. So you're telling me they've got to start again because Klopp's now gone? Not in my opinion. Now, some would say they wouldn't be 2 points off the top if it wasn't for Klopp. And maybe I would agree with that because he is phenomenal, right? But at the same time, Hansi Flick or Jose Mourinho and the list of names that I've seen, apart from Conte, who's like 66-1 or something, are the only ones in the last 3-4 years that can actually hold their heads up high and say, do you know what? In the last decade, let's say, we've actually won stuff. Gary O'Neill hasn't. Ruben Amorim is not a guy that's going to be guaranteed to go and win stuff for Liverpool, and it doesn't look like he's going now. Even Xabi Alonso, that was the one that everyone looked at, and everyone started to go, yeah, but it would still be a risk. Now he's absolutely smashed it out of the park in the Bundesliga, and everyone's really disappointed that he's now not going to be one of the names that they're linked with. But I'm with LB. Look at that list of managers. Fernando Torres was on there. I mean, that's how bad it's got out there. The talent out there is shockingly bad. That's how poor it is, man. I saw the list and I thought, whoa, Fernando Torres is actually one. It must go get Gerrard back. Like, it is that bad, man. So for me, I know Arne Slot is a mention. That, again, is going to be a huge risk. At Feyenoord, we saw what Ten Hag did with Ajax. He's come over and not done anything. Arne Slot has got a lovely way of playing, but so did Ten Hag at Ajax. That didn't work out for United. So for me, Liverpool, they need to, I think out of the list of people, I think Hansi Flick is the one that I would want as a Liverpool fan because he has gone and done stuff and won stuff with a Bayern Munich side that was ready to win stuff. And this Liverpool side should be ready to win stuff. Now, if it loses half of its squad, you can argue that it might not be. If Salah goes to Saudi Arabia, if Van Dijk's done, if Trent decides, you know what, I want to be with Klopp and I'm going to go and, you know, do the dream at Real Madrid, all that stuff gets gutted away. I've got a different story, right? But I don't know that that's all going to happen. So for me, I'm with LB. I think it needs to be a win now manager. You don't need a project at Liverpool. The project's there. It's in front of you. All of the players are ready.
And you talk about those players as well, Dan. Like, is not the best way of keeping them to stay, go and get in, like an elite level manager?
Absolute facts, bro.
Do you get me? I mean, look at Trent, right? Look at Trent, for example, yeah? We get told all the time he's the best right back in the league. Yeah, some Liverpool fans says he's the best right back of the Premier League all time, which I think is a bit of a madness considering he's still pretty young. You've got 18 months left of his contract. If he's as good as people say he is, which, you know, I go with, I think he's a very good player, he's going to have the best teams in the world looking to sign him. If Liverpool go and get a Gary O'Neill and Real Madrid get on the phone to his agent and says, come Real Madrid in 18 months on a free transfer, we'll put him on the top wages, living in Madrid, he'll be there with you, Bellingham. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to try and entice these players to stay. You know, the Van Dijks, the Salahs. And for me, getting a Gary O'Neill in, as much as I think he's a fantastic manager, I don't think he's got that pull. And I think that's part of the problem that Liverpool need to do. They need to get a manager in that's going to be able to keep these players. Like Dan said, this team is not in a project. It's here. It's ready to win stuff. They're 2 points off the top of the table or whatever it is. They're ready to win stuff now. Don't go and throw it all the way about believing that you've now got to go down this process. If you do that, you just destroy what's
I'm sorry as well. This journey stuff and process and project stuff is actually quite annoying, if I'm honest. This is everyone's dream. Everybody wants a once upon a time. Everyone wants a story. Why don't you just go and win something now? You've got a team there that does not need a process or a project or a plan or a journey. Yeah, I can't stand all this. Like, we're in a process and a project that's ending, and everyone's now looking at it going, go the Arsenal way. What have we won? We've got to win something before it's successful. You can't be guaranteed that when you're Liverpool do not need a project, Terry. I'm sorry.
I get where you're cut. I think it's really interesting about the process and journey and project stuff, because every club is always in a process. Like City this summer will be in a process of moving out players that aren't performing, like Jack Grealish and Nunez, and bringing in players that will make them better. So it's an ongoing process, and I get that. And the buzzwords frustrate people. But I agree that the way some Liverpool fans are spinning this situation of we need a rebuild and a process, that is to build a safety net so they can turn around and say that it's okay not to win. It's an excuse for them. That Man United, at this moment in time, it's very different. We need a genuine rebuild because we are absolutely broken. And I know that some football fans have this approach of winning's all that matters. And I watched a film the other day that I haven't watched in years called We Are Marshall. Have you boys ever watched it?
Nope.
Matthew McConaughey, really good film. It's all about a college, American football team, a big college in America in the late 60s, early 70s. Their whole 95% of their team and coaching staff died in an airplane crash, very similar to the Munich air disaster. And the movie's all about how they rebuilt the football program and everything. And there's a scene in it, and where the head coach, who's being played by Matthew McConaughey, speaks about there's not a coach in the world in any sport worth his salt that says, who wouldn't agree with the statement that winning is all that matters. But he then goes on to say, I believe that until I came here. Now, look, the scenario there was very different as to why they were rebuilding their team. But the premise remains the same. Winning is all that matters ultimately, but not every single club is in a position where they can just focus on the winning in that particular season. Man United are not in that space right now, as an example. Liverpool are, though. And that, for me, is what I don't look at Gary O'Neill as a bad manager. And obviously, I think James Pearce has come out in the last 20 minutes or so and said that he's not under consideration by Liverpool. But listen, Liverpool fans turned on James Pearce recently, especially when Klopp's been calling him a liar in the press conferences. Suddenly, James Pearce will become the gospel to Liverpool fans because they don't want the Gary O'Neill story to be true. I believe it's a combination of the two. He's probably been interviewed, and Liverpool might now begin to, you know what, we've interviewed him, he's on the list, but we're going to look at other people first and foremost. They need better than Gary O'Neill, in my opinion. And that's not a dig at Gary O'Neill. I think he could become a very good manager, but it's not right for Liverpool. Do I think Jose's right? No. Jose will come in and he will destroy that dressing room within 2 years. He is just, in the last 2 or 3 big jobs he's had, within 2 years, he has destroyed that dressing room. And that, if I was a Liverpool fan, that would be my fear of him coming in. Is yes, year 1, he might make you win a Prem. But by end of year 2 or halfway through year 3, that man systematically falls out with everybody at his football club. I also don't think he's a winner at the elite level anymore. I think he's been past that for nearly a decade now.
Okay, so let me come into that, because that's fair. For me, I think this is about risk and reward, though, Terry. The risk is he comes in, he doesn't win anything. Because, by the way, if he does win the Premier League in the first year, I don't care. Liverpool fans shouldn't care if he ruins the dressing room the year after. They've just won a Prem. They won one in 9 years with Klopp. That's a fantastic achievement. The risk is he comes in, he doesn't win anything, and he just destroys the whole culture, and everything just gets destroyed. That is a fair shout. Yeah, and that is the obvious risk. But the reward, potentially, is that he comes in and he actually does really well. Now, you say about what he's done in some of his previous jobs. He went to Manchester United and done a pretty good job. He went to Spurs, and I don't think the Spurs don't win anything. I'm not trying to beef Spurs here. Spurs don't win anything. Like that was not the right club. He went to Roma.
Let me just come in quickly, LB, on that. I'll let you continue off. Let me just come on that Spurs thing, because you're absolutely bang on. Mourinho and Conte did exactly what you said can't happen. They're win now managers without a win now squad. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so but he went to Roma, won their first trophy in 30 years, European Cup. So I think that, like, clearly, he's clearly not up to his old standards. Yeah, when he was back at Chelsea back in the day, I accept that. But the amount of managers in that sort of bracket is limited. You know what I mean? You're looking at Zidane, Mourinho, Simeone, Ancelotti. Well, a couple of those managers aren't going to go. I'm looking at who is available. Mourinho is available, and if you get Mourinho in, there is a good chance. There's a chance that he could come in, and there's a chance he could win the Prem. There's a chance he could win the Champions League. Of course, there is a chance that it'll all backfire. It will destroy the whole dressing room. But, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go for that and have a chance of actually winning something? And we're talking the big trophies, or go and getting someone like a Gary O'Neill. For me, I just think it's worth the risk. Now, just quickly before I finish, if Klopp had won loads and loads and loads of stuff at Liverpool, like 3, 4, 5 Prems, a couple of Champions Leagues, maybe it wouldn't be worth throwing that culture away. He's only won 1 Prem and 1 Champions League and then the domestic cups in 9 years. This squad is ready for winning now. I do not think that they should turn their nose up at someone like Jose Mourinho to try and get someone like a Gary O'Neill just to keep the culture right. But it is a brave call. And like you say, there is a risk that you get him in and he just destroys it. And I guess that is what the board at Liverpool now are having conversations about.
Yeah, I don't think Gary O'Neill's the right guy for the job. I just don't think it's not. And again, culturally, I think style of play, you could say, is more closely aligned to Klopp than Jose's style of play is. And that's probably more my issue than anything else with Jose. If I was a Liverpool fan, is we've been training and playing a particular way for 9 years. Bringing someone like a Jose in, how alien is that going to be to these players? I'm not saying you need a Is he going to look at the players that are there and go, yeah, you can play my style of football where you sit firm, you sit tight, we counter-attack sides. I don't know if they're built. I'm not saying don't get a win now manager, but I don't know if Jose's style of football is going to intertwine well with what Liverpool already have. He's not available. If you're going to get a win now manager, someone like a Carlo Ancelotti would be perfect for Liverpool right now of that level. But of course, he's at Real Madrid and he ain't leaving them. Not when Mbappe's about to arrive. Why the hell would he leave? This guy could go on to win his 5th or 6th Champions League title in the next few years. Insane. He's not risking that. But I agree with what you were saying so much, Dan. There's loads of managers in the world right now with the potential to become winners, but there are very few winners. You've got Pep, you've got Ancelotti, you have got Jose and Conte, whose CVs have it on there. You've got a few guys in Italy that have won league titles over there. But I mean, who are the active managers that have actually won Champions Leagues? Like, genuine question.
Tuchel.
Where Di Matteo are? Is he managing?
Thomas Tuchel's going to be available, isn't he, at the end of the season? He's won a Champions League. Obviously, you've got.
No one likes him. No one likes Tuchel.
No, they don't. Do they? They don't. I don't.
No one likes Tuchel. You got Flick. I swear Flick's won one.
Andy Flick available. Mourinho is available.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about managers who are available that have actually won major leagues and won Champions Leagues. You've got Tuchel. You've got Flick. You've got Jose. I mean, you've got Conte, who's a winner, but Conte's European record, by the way, is absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
So you could almost discount him from that list. Obviously, there's Zinedine Zidane, who's out there as well. And you start looking at it, everybody else, even if they've won, and by the way, Ruben Almiron, yes, he won league titles in Portugal, but Ten Hag had won league titles in the Eredivisie, right? There are question marks over Slop. There's question marks over Almiron's. Of course, there's question marks over the likes of Gary O'Neill. The problem that you've got, the managers with the winning pedigree, there's huge question marks over most of them in terms of can they still deliver? Would they fit Liverpool's ethos and footballing philosophy? Everybody else is a risk. There is no, for me, hard and fast. I thought Alonso was the guy, but he said, and by the way, Alonso's right to stay. The more I think about it.
Yeah, he is.
He needs enough.
Yeah.
He needs more experience before going to a club with the pressure that comes from those guys. There is no obvious fit for Liverpool.
And that's what Gary O'Neill should do, by the way.
Mm.
That's what Gary O'Neill should do, is stay at Wolves, in my opinion, right? And actually, because people will say, I saw earlier on a WhatsApp group that I'm in, said, oh, this is just like David Moyes to Man United or Potter to Chelsea. It's not. It's actually worse than that, because Moyes actually proved himself for Everton, got him in the Champions League. Graham Potter put an unbelievable style of football to Brighton and did really, really well with them, and won stuff at Ostersund's and learnt his trade at Swansea. Gary O'Neill was in his first proper kind of management role, because at Bournemouth, he took over as a caretaker and they sacked him. Right, and he did well, by the way. This is his first job. He's done a very, very good job. They've had a lot of injuries, Wolves, and a lot of stuff go against them. It put him in a great, great role. If he goes there, to me, that is far too soon. There is such a difference between managing at Wolves and managing at Liverpool. It is absolute chalk and cheese. And for me, I think it would be a bad move for Gary O'Neill. And I like what he's doing at Wolves. I just think it would be poor. I think Liverpool need to go for a Hansi Flick or a manager like that, because they will go in there. They know what they're doing in the Champions League. They know what they're doing to go and win things, and that gives them a better chance. And this style of play thing is just absolute crap. I'm sorry. It's absolute nonsense for me. Like, oh, they might not enjoy that style of play. Grew up on George Graham, and it wasn't exactly attractive. But you know what? I celebrated just as much. We won Premier Leagues and FA Cups as I did when Wenger did it beautifully. Do you know what I mean? When you win stuff, I don't really care what your style of football is, because you win stuff. So, yes, of course, the perfect combination is Pep Guardiola and LB going, we play beautiful football and win everything. That's a dream. That doesn't happen all the time. So, for me, if Liverpool want someone to come in and play Klopp football, forget it. It ain't going to happen. They might have to play a different style of football to win stuff, because that's what football's about, man. That's the way I see it anyway. Well,
listen, again, I agree and disagree at the same time. If there's no one that can get anywhere near Klopp's level playing that style, you may have to look at a different option. It's the same with a player. You know, when I remember when Keane left for years, we needed the new Roy Keane. We tried to a couple of times, bring in similar profile, didn't work. We only got the new Roy Keane when we went for a completely different player in Michael Carrick. And sometimes you have to do that. However, what they need to be mindful of is that they bring in a manager whose style of play is still suited to the squad they've got. Because if they need to overhaul the squad to fit the manager, then you are doing a semi-rebuild. That win now approach is not relevant, because you've got to change. And that's what we did wrong with Jose. Jose needed to change 95% of the squad to win. Therefore, he should never have been appointed. And I think that's what they've got to get right. And I'll be honest with you, I'm at a little bit of a loss, and Liverpool fans seem to be as well, because some saying Julian Nagelsmann is perfect, but he isn't, because he just re-signed a deal with Germany. He doesn't want to become, and that's the weirdest thing about this Liverpool appointment. I thought people would be queuing up for the job after Klopp, but it does appear like people at Almiron's like, no, I don't want to go there. You've got, Jose would probably take it. He wants a big opportunity somewhere, but Alonso said no.
Do you think, Terry, people are looking at the Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger thing and going, oh, I don't want that, so let someone else go in there first after Klopp? Because I don't, maybe they are. Maybe they're looking at it going, Unai Emery, look at him now, fantastic manager. But everyone was like, cool, look at this after Wenger. And likewise with David Moyes. Maybe they're not. I'm just thinking, like, why would anyone turn down Liverpool? I just don't get it. I don't get that.
I do get the Fergie Wenger. I mean, but he ain't no Fergie, is he? Like, do you know what I mean? Fergie.
No.
But at the same time, I do get the premise.
He's seen as a legend at Liverpool, isn't he? That's what
it does feel a little bit. I mean, the one thing I would say is this: I know not all Liverpool fans don't always agree. They're a very well-run club, and Edwards is back. And I don't agree with the stories from James Pearce that they haven't looked at Gary O'Neill. The article that's put the news out earlier is a big Liverpool person, very well connected to the club. He isn't going to lie about the interview. They may now not be considering him since that story came out. Liverpool might say, we did interview him yesterday, but we've got no interest in him. But that doesn't mean you haven't looked at him. And the fact you've looked at him is interesting for me. But equally, I think they're right to interview and speak to people, because you can unearth some gems sometimes that nobody else. I mean, before Pep became Barca's manager, none of us know who Pep is as a manager. We know the player. If somebody said, "Oh, we're going to bring through like a coach from behind the scenes at the club who's never managed a team in his life in Pep Guardiola," most of us would have said that's fucking stupid. No, even what happened with Zidane, that's not the normal approach to bring in an unknown. Does that make sense? Most of the time, they're not really they don't really define what it is to be a manager. Sometimes there are hidden gems out there that go on to be brilliant that you don't know about. And maybe it's probably right to interview a Gary O'Neill because maybe he says something or he brings a plan where you go, fucking hell, this is amazing. No one else is speaking or doing this. And it might end up being a great appointment. But I think Gary O'Neill's got some quality in him, but it ain't right for him right now. Honestly, I don't know who they should bring in. Honestly, I don't know why. I know Liverpool fans hate him. I keep thinking De Zerbi's right for him. Because I like De Zerbi, but a lot of people don't.
You've got to on the interview thing. This is the biggest decision Liverpool have had to make in over a decade. You know what I mean? And this could set the trajectory of the next 5 years for Liverpool. They have to interview people. They have to speak to people. So Amorim. A lot of Liverpool fans wanted Amorim, right? Probably a lot of them never even watched Sporting Lisbon in their life, but that's what we do as fans. You know what I mean? We see a video on YouTube saying why Liverpool should get Amorim, and we're all like, get him. But no, he could have turned up in an interview and said something that just like the whole board at Liverpool Football Club's like, whoa, no, this isn't how we want to go. And then all of a sudden you've uncovered something. So, this is due diligence. They have to do this. I agree with you, Tay. I don't know where Liverpool go from here. Like I said, I think Xavi Alonso would have been a good fit. Would have been a risk, of course. It's still early days, but he would have been a good fit. The Liverpool fans would have bought into him because he's ex-Liverpool. Everyone else, I'm kind of just like, there's going to be a split in the fan base. It could potentially get toxic if the fans really get split. Like this is where I sort of see like, the Mourinho situation. Just quickly going back to this again. Like whilst it potentially is worth the risk, if you get Mourinho, there's going to be some Liverpool fans that really, really don't like that, and that's where it could get a little bit toxic. And for the last 9 years, Liverpool fans have all been together under Klopp. They've all backed him. And do you really want to throw that in the bin? But like you say, there's no easy option, man. I was literally yesterday looking at the names on the odds to see who's favourite and going down, and I'm looking at the list, and it is just poor.
Let's have a look. I haven't looked at it. Next, let's have a little look now.
I think Arnie Slot was a favourite yesterday when I checked it, and then De Zerbi was third.
See, I don't know a lot about Slot. I mean, suddenly though, in the last 24 hours, everybody's an expert. So Almarin's still favourite according to odds checker here, and then it's De Zerbi. Slot's now gone down to third. Gary O'Neill currently fourth favourite. Then Motta, then Jose Mourinho, then Thomas Frank, then Tuchel's way down the pecking order. Then Pep Lijnders. I mean, what Liverpool fans in the comments? What about Pep Lijnders taking over? Like, what about that? Like, I'm asking because I don't know. And then Zidane at 33. Everyone after that is just not going to. I mean, Emery's 40-1, but he's just signed a new deal, so we know that isn't happening.
Well, you know the Pep Lijnders one, Terry. Yeah. If there is literally no one there that you think is good enough, is the best option just to say,
wait,
let's give him a year, yeah, and then we'll look again next summer. And in the perfect scenario, Pep Lijnders turns out to be the guy, and everyone's like, oh my god, we can just keep him. Great news, but it saves you from appointing someone on a 3 or 4 year contract that absolutely bombs, and then like you say, the thing with De Zerbi, yeah. I think I need to see him another year. I think it's too soon to appoint him right now. I think I need to see him one more year in the Premier League. So get Pep Lijnders in, and then maybe have a look at De Zerbi next year. Maybe have a look at Gary O'Neill next year, where they've got more experience.
At the risk of triggering Dan, Man United are at the beginning of a project and a process, right? So I think a De Zerbi is fine for that. I get your point with Liverpool being win now because of the squad they've got. It's a different scenario. But I think you're right. Liverpool fans saying no to Pep Lijnders. Let me throw this out to you. You as fans have praised your club for 9 years for not rushing transfers. We wanted Van Dijk. Couldn't get him in the summer. We didn't panic and buy someone else. We waited and we got him. And you've done that on a number of occasions. So why not have that same approach for a manager? If the ideal individual isn't available, why not leave it a year? I know. Why not? Like, give it honestly. Tell the panel now. Tell me, Dan, and there'll be why that's not worth attempting. Give me your thoughts. It's a great point. It's a really, really great point, LB, in terms of give it a year and then see who becomes available, see who could become the manager then.
I would assume, Terry, that people who are against that are people that want a Mourinho, a Simeone style manager, someone who's won stuff. Yeah, I mean, people who are like, yeah, De Zerbi, like, we'll take him. They're probably more open to having Pep Lijnders. But as we've said, this is a team that is ready to win. They are not in the same position as United, just to clarify. United are not in a position to win. They are about to start a process. They're going down the Arsenal route, starting the process, and then hopefully, well, for them, 3 to 4 years, Terry hopes a bit sooner, they'll be ready to compete. Liverpool are not at that. Liverpool are not in a process. They're ready to win now. So, yeah, that's why. Listen, if it was me, I think I'd send Mourinho. I'd accept the risks. I'd be fully open to the risks. I'd do the disclaimers. This could go south. You know what I mean? Our club could be destroyed in a year. All the players might want to leave. It could get toxic real quick. But the potential flip side is won stuff, Champions League, Premier League, many trophies, is a winner. It hopefully will keep the team together because Salah and these players might go, I'll give it one more year. And you could potentially win stuff. But I get the risks, man. Listen, it's not easy. I think that's why you've still not got an announcement for who the next manager is, because it's clearly not for the people that are making the decision at Liverpool, they must be like chopping and changing their mind every day, man.
I think Conte or Hansi Flick would probably be more preferred to Liverpool fans than Mourinho, just because they hate him. Do you know what I mean? If they want one of those
type managers, want Conte over Mourinho, bro. Would you want Conte over Mourinho?
I wouldn't want either of them because they got the Spurs lurgy, mate. I'll go for Flick.
Yeah, Flick. I guess Flick is the sort of like more neutral option of those guys, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Before I said it could get toxic between Liverpool fans if they get like a Mourinho in, because some of them will want it and some of them will be proper against it. Is anyone really going to be sitting there going, I don't want Flick? You know what I mean? You might get someone who's like not. I think that's why
Flick would be the best for me. If I'm looking from the outside looking in, Hansi Flick would be good for Liverpool. I think that would be a good thing. And I don't even think that Thomas Tuchel would be a shocking shout either. But some people seem to hate him for some reason. So, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
Can I ask you a question just quickly? Sorry, sir. Do you know what your Arteta situation? Potsy? Like you've been pretty vocal in the past about like if he doesn't win stuff, you've got to get rid of him and that. Does this whole Liverpool situation now? Like, and looking at how difficult it is to get a manager in at the quality that you want, does it alter your opinion on maybe like what you want to do with Arteta if he doesn't win anything this year? Say he doesn't win the Prem, say he bottles it now and you don't win anything for the rest of the season, like you have a fall off. Does it change your views on sacking the manager based on how difficult it is to get manager in?
No, because otherwise we still have Arsene Wenger because there was nobody better than him. You've got to make a decision sometimes. It's difficult in life to try and move forward, haven't you? West Ham can stay with Moyes, or if they want to go a different direction, then that's why they're linked with Amorim, because they want to go and change that. They could sit there and go, we can't do any better. Moyes has given us European football for 3 years. We haven't won anything this year, but so what? We won something last year. We just stay as it is. Some of the West Ham fans are going like, well, we're never going to win anything then. We've got no ambition. You've got to have ambition to win. You never, ever just accept, we can't get any better at the moment, so we just keep Arteta. Now, when next season comes, because Arteta's staying, by the way, so next season comes around and Arsenal win nothing. That's a very uncomfortable situation to have, very uncomfortable conversation to have, that we could be that nearly there guy, and what do we do? Because Liverpool loved Brendan Rodgers, right? They were like, Brendan Rodgers, look at this. We're getting a title race here. We haven't been in the one for 30 years, whatever it's been. And then they needed Klopp to get him across the line. Man City were the same, they had Mark Hughes and all the money. There was like, he's never going to win it. So you've got to make bad decisions. You've got to make uncomfortable decisions, should I say, sometimes. And I think that Arsenal might have to make one in a couple of years if it ain't going to work with Arteta getting across the line.
I agree. I just wanted to know if it changed.
Would you have
Mourinho at Arsenal?
No, I wouldn't have Mourinho or Conte because of the Spurs lurgy, mate. Honestly, I know it sounds silly, but I just wouldn't. But I would have Hansi Flick. I would have Zidane. It is, mate. They got the Spurs lurgy now, man. Trust. That's what happens. They got the Spurs lurgy. They ain't coming to Arsenal now. They did a George Graham on us. But I do think Hansi Flick, Zidane, those type of managers are ones that we would look at if Arteta wasn't to be the right guy after next season. But I think he's staying whatever, man.
Yeah, Flick's
the list ain't great though. I've got to say the list ain't great, is it? You don't look at that list,
but it isn't, and it's about. I mean, again, I think Arsenal fans should stop talking about Ancelotti Zidane and Simeone. They're just not attainable right now, or probably not even next year as well with where they're at. Flick's the only other name. I mean, everybody else, even though other people have got winning on their CV, there's still big downsides to them. It's a really weird space when you actually start to deep who should be the manager. 10 years ago, there'd be 20 names. That's exaggerating a little bit, but there'd be a plethora of names that you'd read off saying, I'll take these guys at my club. Now, it's a lot harder. This is from Sonny. He says, mark my words, Klopp stays one more year, then Alonso comes in, save this.
But why would they wait though, Sonny? So my question to you on this is, right, if this is true, right, why wouldn't they just announce it now? Bro, we're almost at the end of the season, 6 games left. They crashed out the FA Cup, yeah? Crashed out the Europa League. They got beat off. They got beat off in the league, or they lost against someone in the league. United together, was it? Or they got beat off someone in the league, or dropped points in the league, right? Why, if you're right, Sonny, yeah, why wouldn't they have announced that contract extension like a month ago when it could have given the whole club a boost? And it's like, come on, man, we got it for 1 more year. Let's go and win the league. Why are they just letting this season almost fizzle out to nothing? And then what? At the end of the year, they're going to go, oh yeah, we'll give him another year. Like, if you would have said this super chatting like a month ago, I would have been like, you know what, Sonny might be right. But now I just think like it's a bit late, isn't it?
I think Jose is done with the Premier League, and the Premier League is done with him. It's probably most likely. Are Liverpool in a rebuild if they get Gary O'Neill? They shouldn't be. They don't need a rebuild. They need the best they can. But there we go. Speaking of Liverpool, it looks like Jota's going to be out for a couple of weeks now.
It's only just come back. That's mad, isn't it? That is crazy.
I know. All this Klopp will go to Bayern in the summer. No chance. There's going to be Ralf Rangnick. Ralf Rangnick's going to be the new Bayern Munich manager, which is mad.
That's crazy.
Mad. But doesn't that show how bad the market is? That Ralf Rangnick is becoming the Bayern Munich manager.
Love to see what he does there as well. Love to see what he does there, because he was so like everyone. Oh, Ralph's come to save Man United, and it was abysmal because of everything around him. Let's see what he actually is like as a manager at Bayern Munich.
True. Yeah, I mean, in fairness, if our owners would have listened to him and done the stuff that he said, we probably wouldn't be in as bad a position we're in now. So hindsight and all that, but yeah, it looks like Ralf Rangnick, which is a crazy one. Viewers, give us your thoughts and feelings. Make sure the like button is being smashed, please. Get that done for us if you haven't done so already. Big game tonight, Dan. Big game tonight. I know there was a lot of talk last week after you dropped out of Europe that you wouldn't beat Wolves, but you did. And an opportunity tonight to go 4 points clear of City to, really do apply some pressure to a team that doesn't look at its best still and looks itself a little bit flimsy. How confident are you going up against Chelsea tonight? It does look like Palmer's fit, but Gusto probably is going to be out of the game. Are you feeling confident? A lot of Gooners have messaged me today when I put out a tweet this morning asking, all saying, I think we're going to smash them. We're going to smash them. Do you agree with that take?
No, I don't think we're going to smash them. We've got the ability to smash them, but I don't think we're going to. Confidence is still low at Arsenal at the moment because we're really hurt by what happened against Villa and Bayern. We are, because we feel like we're going to be very, very difficult now. We're relying on Man City to drop points, which is something that doesn't always happen. And of course, the Bayern Munich situation, I just don't think we turned up in that second leg. Certainly defensively we did, but going forward, it was quite poor. Against Wolves, I was actually a lot more confident than some. I said we win 2-0 and we did, and I thought it would be quite a comfortable win. Wolves were depleted, man. So that was why I was fairly confident that Arsenal would have enough. But again, in terms of going forward, I still wasn't that impressed with Arsenal. We don't look amazingly scary going forward as much as perhaps we would have last season and at some of the start of this season or the start of this year. We were just blitzing teams away from home. That's kind of stopped now. Mikel Arteta has made some odd decisions again in his in-game management. Some of his subs players he's not brought on, players he started. Dropping Havertz back into midfield is a strange one again. So I think some of his stubbornness has sometimes let him down. But I do feel that we should be able to beat Chelsea at home. Now, if I knew Cole Palmer was going to be fit because it was only an illness thing. It was like he was unwell or something. Or you don't stop playing football if you've got a cold. Do you know what I mean? You crack on. Gusto being out is probably a good thing for Arsenal because I feel like they're probably looking at one of their best players there this season, in my opinion. Gusto, that's how bad it is at Chelsea. He's probably one of their better players. Now, if they play Tisasi there or if they play Trevor Chalobah there, I hope that Martinelli starts and he really goes for it against them because that's a player that it's been disappointing this season, to be fair to him. It's a player I really like, but I feel like I can get in behind him. But I don't think Arsenal will thrash these. I don't think it will be a 4-0 or 3-0, like some people are saying. I fancy us to nick the game. Chelsea are poor in front of goal, man. Poor in front of goal. And I hope that continues tonight. You know, let's have it right. I'll say this. If Chelsea had a striker, let's just say Ivan Toney, I think they've got 2 cups this season that they're lifting. Real talk. If they had Ivan Toney, I think they could easily have both the domestic cup double. That's how mad it is. And they're not even that good. Chelsea are not even that good. So I think they've got problems in front of goal. Madueke, poor at the weekend. Jackson, I've told Don about this guy. He ain't good enough, man. You know, I'm used to Drogba's and Costas and Zola's in front of goal. This guy is not the guy. Like, they have to upgrade on him for me. Now, people will probably clip me now because he'll probably score against us tonight, but I still stand by it, even if he does. Yeah, I don't rate him. I think he's awful. Yeah. And
KJ, clip that, mate.
Yeah, someone will. And I don't mind them clipping it because even if he does score tonight, he's still rubbish, right? But Cole Palmer being fit is a massive worry because he's such a good player, man. Like, honestly, I know Man City fans, like LB's not one of them, are like, oh, yeah, we don't need him. We can afford to sell him. He's better than Doku. And to be honest with you, he's probably better than Grealish when you look at it in terms of what he's done and output-wise, right? So they would be better with him. So I'm glad he's gone because they would have won the league by now, probably, if he would have stayed and done what he's done at Chelsea. But I do think the player's a baller and we've got to keep him quiet tonight. But defensively, Arsenal have been good this season. I hope that we can do it again tonight, man, because we need to win. It's a must-win game. Every single game is a must-win game, man.
You'll get over the line easy, man. Chelsea.
I don't know if it'll be easy, LB.
No, you'll get over the line, man. Listen, Chelsea are not a good team. They proved that when they played us. We were.
You didn't smash them. You didn't smash them.
If you let me finish, Potsy, I'll tell you what I was going to say. I said we was poor, we was knackered, and they still couldn't beat us. Yeah, you will beat Chelsea tonight. But this thing, I've got to say, you don't need to smash them. We're in the results end of the season. No one cares.
That's a great point.
I see some Arsenal fans say, "Oh, not great tonight." And if you give me 6 more Premier League matches where City are not great and we win all 6, I'm taking the deal, bro.
100%.
This is not the part of the season.
Results over performance, man. 100%. No, you're right.
So who cares how good you played against Wolves? You just played a big Champions League game away at the Allianz Arena against Bayern Munich. You got beat, yeah. Confidence is low, morale's low. You went to the Molineux, difficult place to play football, and you beat them. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not entirely sure why some Arsenal fans were moaning about that. It's a top result. If you win tonight with the worst performance you're putting in the season, you win 1-0. Who cares? Do you know what I mean? It's now in the results part of the season. Yeah, you will beat Chelsea tonight. Chelsea are poor. Yeah, like you say, they're attackers. Yeah, they cannot find the back of the net. How they didn't put us to bed with the chances that they had, I have no idea. If Gusto's out, that's bad news for them as well, because obviously Reece James still ain't there. You'll win the game. I'm not going to sit here and say you're smashing 4-5-0. Don't need to. All I'm confident is you will win that game. And that puts the pressure on City now, because by the time we play Brighton on Thursday, we're going to be 4 points behind. And this is what I said. The only way I think Arsenal win the league, yeah, is if they win these games against Wolves and then Brighton, because that puts the pressure on City now. You know, City going to go to Brighton 4 points behind. Now, I think we should beat Brighton. You know what I mean? Brighton ain't the best this year, but the pressure's there. We know we have to win. And that's, sometimes pressure gets to players. So I ain't got a problem with you guys tonight. I think in the end, it will be an easy game. I don't think you'll smash them 4-5, but I don't think there'll be much stress in the game, bro.
Listen, we had that on the match reaction the other night. The amount of Gooners that were just angry and frustrated that they weren't even better against Wolves. And I watched it as a rival of Arsenal, but as a neutral to the game. And yeah, you weren't the best in attack, but they didn't put any pressure on you, really. They didn't come close to scoring. You nullified them. That's excellent at this stage of the season. And it isn't just about Arsenal beating Chelsea tonight in the title race. It's also about Liverpool. If Liverpool do it, City are then 4 points behind 2 teams. That's a different kettle of fish. City are still the favourites because they're favourites to win their 2 games in hand. Therefore, they'll go back to being a point or 2 ahead of you. But football's a funny old game. And I think if Arsenal win tonight, I think that'll push them on, and I think you'll beat Spurs as well at the weekend. I think you'll win both those games, and it's title race until the end of the season. And I felt that a lot of the Arsenal fans at this time last week were throwing their toys out their pram. the season's over. We'll collapse from here. We won't win any more games. We'll fall back. I didn't see that being the case. It was a setback against Aston Villa and a bad setback. Absolutely. City are now the outright favourites, but you're still in with a chance. You've still got a chance of winning this league title. And I think that the only thing you should be demanding now is that you win these games. You are a better team than Chelsea in every single part of the football pitch, and you should be beating them at home. And it's kind of handling that pressure. But most of this season, you've been at your best when you've been not the underdogs in the game, but the underdogs in the title race. And you are at this stage again. So I don't know either. Like a lot of people said to me today, I think we'll smash Chelsea. I was like, no, I don't know if you will. I think you'll outclass them. You'll win by a couple of goals, in my opinion, because Chelsea just aren't that good. I mean, they a lot of their fans think they're a lot better than they really are. You know, I mean, the amount of crap I get for criticizing Enzo Fernandez, I've never seen anything like it in my life. And this is what's mad about it. I don't think he's a crap player. I don't think he is a trash player. I don't think he's the worst part of Chelsea. I don't think sell him and buy someone better and you'll be an amazing team. But I do think for a player of his ability, in the box-to-box role, he underwhelms far too much when he's in possession in the team, and I don't think he's good enough when it comes to the defensive side of the game either. So you're up against a midfield of him and Caicedo, which I think you'll dominate. And then look, this could come back to bite Arsenal in the backside, like you say. How is that front line going to outscore you genuinely at the Emirates? They are going to give you ample opportunity to score, by the way. They do get most teams, they give ample opportunity to score goals against, especially that, you know, I know they've got good results this season against the bigger sides. But when you actually go back and watch some of the games, I can't always fathom how. Now, they beat Man United, but look how open they were against us in terms of letting us attack them. If they do that tonight to you lot, you will beat them. And that's not, again, I don't think I'm being disrespectful. Top of the league as it stands versus ninth in the league. That's the cold, hard facts of the matter. Chelsea are not very well drilled because I don't think Poch is the guy. They've got lots of individuals that are not performing in their individual positions, and they've got a lot of people out injured still. So, yeah, I think it's an Arsenal win written all over it for me.
I agree. I think Chelsea's best chance tonight, in my opinion, but this ain't going to happen, as for the reasons that Terry just explained, is sit back, stay tight, be well drilled, and play your fastest players and try and hit Arsenal on the break. But that's Pochettino's not going to do that. So that means it's going to be an open game. And one team is fighting for the league and one team is fighting for nothing, really. So, you know, there's only one winner. I'd be absolutely stunned if Arsenal don't win this game. Stunned. Is that Emirates as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
I might not even watch it.
No hate along tonight. No, what's it called? Hop along, hate along.
Pray along.
Pray along. That's it. Pray along.
Pray along.
Pray along. I don't know. I think it's we should be beating them, of course. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park easy like some are making out. Some Arsenal fans I've seen like, I can't wait to smash these by 3 or 4. That'd be lovely. I'd absolutely love it, but I just can't see that happening. I think Chelsea have turned up against big teams, man. We saw at the weekend that, you know, they gave City a game. They give a City game when they played them in the league. Likewise, Liverpool at the Bridge, it was 2-2 when we played there. They beat.
Yeah, but you were asked that day. You were asked that day.
Yeah, well, let's hope we're not asked today because it'll happen again. So that's what we got to do, man. We got to turn up tonight. And
how have they gotten on away this season against the top 6 sides? Man United beat them. I know they drew with City. I think Liverpool beat them. I know they beat Tottenham, and I don't want to take nothing away from that, but it's a very hard game. That's a hard game to judge because they were coming back into it, but when you go up against 9 men, like, you should still be winning from that point. So I think they've drawn away at City, lost to United, lost to Liverpool. Have they played away at Villa?
I've got it.
I don't know.
I've got it here. So at the top 8, they lost at West Ham. They beat Spurs 4-1, but Spurs had like 10 men. They got beat 4-1 at Newcastle. They got beat 2-1 at United. They got beat 4-1 at Liverpool. They drew at City 1-1. And that's it. They've not played Villa yet. They still got to play Villa and Arsenal.
So again, and that's what I look at. I will.
They've won. Oh, sorry, no. I thought they've won 2 games last season away from home. They didn't.
No. So I look at it this way: they have got a good record in some of the head-to-head clashes this year, but a lot of that has been at home. Their away record against teams currently sitting in the top 8 is nothing to write home about. It's not. It's probably not the worst. You know, Man United is abysmal. I'm not sort of flexing here, but I'm just looking at it in relation to this game. Arsenal should be winning this match. And I get why some Arsenal fans want to smash them, though, because Chelsea, and by the way, Chelsea fans are right for this. They want to end your season tonight. They want to completely make it impossible for you to win the league. So I think again, as a rival, stroke neutral to the game watching, I'm really excited about tonight's game because there's a little bit of sort of jeopardy in it, if that makes sense. I really like it. I like it. It's a good one.
Chelsea and Spurs, we got them next, and both of them want to end our title race. That's what they want to do as fans. Now, obviously, the players and the managers are different to what the fans want, right? Because, I think Tottenham will roll over against Man City. The fans want Tottenham to roll over against Man City, but the players and the manager won't. The players and the manager will be professional and try and win the game and try and put it out there. But we all know that they will lose that game. Like, that's a given. Like that Man City are walking that game. It's just so obvious to me. But Man City fans will go, oh, no, that's a typical game. We don't do too well there. They've only scored 1 goal of them. Their ground. We beat them in the FA Cup and all that. But let's be real. Man City are winning that game. So that one I'm not looking at. I'm going to pray that some of the away games that City are at, they find it more difficult than I think in my head they're going to. That's all I've got. It's just a hope now that City will drop points somehow. And we've still got to win all 5 of our games, which is going to be difficult. It is, man. This is why the Villa game was such a blow. Such a blow.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an interesting game. So I'm excited about it. How do you feel about the title race, LB? Because obviously a lot of people have just written Liverpool and Arsenal off now. Do you think it's done?
I think it's unlikely that City lose it from here. Not because I don't think City will drop points, because I find it highly unlikely that Arsenal and Liverpool don't drop points, just because of the fixtures that they've got, man. The fixtures that they've got are so tough. Like, I just look at it, I think, if Arsenal win their next 6 games, I'd be stunned. And Liverpool, they've got Everton away, West Ham away, Spurs, Villa away, and Liverpool winning all 4 of them. Arsenal winning all 4 of their games before City even played Tottenham. So I'm hoping that I think if City win their next 4 games, we win the league. And that doesn't even include West Ham and Tottenham, which some people say are hardest fixtures. Because I don't think Arsenal beat Chelsea, Tottenham, Bournemouth, and Man United. If they do, I'll take me out of them, because that is insane. Especially given the fact that Spurs is away, Man United's away. And by the way, that Man United game is the last game at Old Trafford this season. So United will want to put in a performance. Liverpool again. They've got to go to Villa Park. Last game at Villa Park this season. These games are before the Spurs game for City. So if they drop points and City beat Brighton, Forest, Wolves, and Fulham, which we should be doing, I don't think that's that arrogant. That's like that City should be beating them guys. I could be not even worried about Spurs if they drop points.
And by the way, if it gets to a point where if Spurs lose, you win the league, Spurs are rolling over for you. They're letting you win, right? They're not gonna. Spurs are gonna do nothing to help, especially as they again. It may be a little different if they really want this Champions League spot, but if by the time they play you, their Champions League spot's over, they can't get it. They are not going to beat you. They are not going to help Arsenal win a league title. They would rather take the L on the day and laugh.
Are you going to? Are Man United going to help us when we come to your place? You're going to roll over for us.
Listen, if you beating us meant that you stopped City doing a 4P or Liverpool from matching our league titles, I would take it. People obviously say, Terry's a clod, Arsenal fan. But they're not listening to the rationale. My reasoning for wanting it to happen is for the betterment of my football club. It's nothing to do with Arsenal winning. It's I don't want City getting a 4-peat record because I think it will be one of the greatest achievements ever in English football. And I don't think it will be matched. It's not been done in 130 plus years. It's not likely to be done again. And they're also set up to fucking do a 5-peat the year later, which makes it even harder. So, yeah, for love nor money, I want that record gone. The same as I celebrated like hell when Real Madrid beat them. I'm not a Madrid fan, but they can't do back-to-back trebles, which every fan of a top 6 club should be praying they don't do. Because why would you want a record to be set by a club that's so unlikely to see you ever achieve it or better it? It's unbelievable. So, yeah, I'm all about the records and what comes with it. And the irony is the people that always disagree with me the most are the people that say they're Standard FC and say winning is all that matters. Yeah. They're not worried about what these wins could accumulate in records for people. It's crazy to me. So, yeah, I'd roll over and let you rub our belly in that game, if I'm being honest. And I don't like saying that. I feel a bit dirty when I say it, if I'm being honest with you, because I want to win every game, but that 4p is horrible to me. Terry, what does he say? Terry, you need to stop Arsenal when they come to Old Trafford. I don't want to, but it will be just my luck. It'll be in Arsenal's hands by then, and Man United putting their best performance under Ten Hag and beat them 3-0. It'll be bittersweet. It'll be bittersweet. It'll be bittersweet. Terry, Man United won't roll over for Arsenal. Ten Hag hates us, but I didn't say we would. I was asked a question, what would I want to happen? There's a fundamental difference in those two things. Spurs as a club will roll over and let City win. That's different in my view, personally. We will beat Arsenal today. Mark my words. Nicholas Jackson's here with us, people.
Why is he in Australia? He should be in London, bro.
He's got a better chance of scoring from there than he has been in Odyssey. He really has.
Jeez.
Football gods, lads, karma. See, there's a difference. The football gods only punish your predictions when you're being an arrogant SOB, not when you're being honest. That's it. Remember, I speak to the football gods. I'm like Moses, bruv. It's a joke for anyone who's offended. Arsenal to win 1-0 against Chelsea. It won't be a walk in the park. I think walk by. What's a walk by? Is that like a walk in the park? I assume. I'm going to say that.
Walk over. I think it means walk over. I agree. I don't think it'll be a walk over, but I'm confident we'll get it done.
Yeah, we shall see. Speaking of Arsenal City as well, I want to throw this transfer rumor out. Both of you have been heavily linked in the last 24 hours with Bruno Guimarães. What are you saying, boys? Would you take him?
Yeah, I love him. I think he'd be brilliant, but I think Man City will get him, and I think he'll go. I think Paqueta and Bruno will both be playing in Man City shirts, mate.
I don't know. I mean, we
all go home now and let City win it again.
Yeah, apparently they're best mates as well. Them two.
Yeah, they are best man at each other's weddings. So I think Paqueta's going to go City. That's a given, I think. And then I think Bruno will look at that.
Well, providing the gambling charges are sorted. I think obviously
which they will be. They will be.
Well, people have been saying this since August, bro. Oh, they'll be sorted soon. We're not April. And clubs, by the way, clubs do their transfer business months before the window actually opens. Like they start having the conversations. Like they don't just go, it's not FIFA. Transfer window doesn't open, and then you start doing all your stuff. Like you've got to do everything. Listen, we need a player because we're running Rodri into the ground. Like no one that we've signed, Phillips, Nunes, Kovacic, none of them are capable of playing in that Rodri position. None of them. Yeah, the only player that could do it was Gundogan, and we let him leave. So my preference would be Kimmich. He's half the price. He's worked with Pep Guardiola before. He's won everything. He's won everything to win in the game. He's mad experienced, and he can play right back. He can play cover for Rodri. He can play in that Gundogan position. You can have Rodri, Kimmich, and Foden in the midfield. He would be my option. He's got 1 year left on his deal at Bayern Munich, and this is going to be his last big contract. If he wants to leave Germany and play in a different league and experience a different league, this is probably the year for him to do it. And like I say, he's going to cost half the price. Bruno's over 100 mil. Probably get Kimmich. He's only got 1 year left. He's probably getting 55, 60 mil. Do you know what I mean? So I would prefer Kimmich over Bruno. But if we do get Bruno, then obviously that's still a mad signing. But we're also linked with this João Neves guy from Benfica. I don't know if any of you guys have seen him.
Yeah, he's very good.
Have you seen it? Yeah, I've only watched him once. I watched him last night. Not last night, the other night. But he looked all right. But apparently his release clause is like 100 mil. So it's just like, and he's 19. Crazy. It's just crazy, isn't it? So I'd take Bruno 100%.
105 million for Bruno at 26. That's a good deal, man. I think he's a very, very good player. Very good player.
Good player, yeah. And like I say, I'd take him. Just Kimmich to me would be my main guy.
Yeah, I'd take Isak and Bruno. I'd love it at Arsenal. Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Go raid Newcastle.
Yeah, I think like Newcastle, we're going to lose one of those two this summer. I don't know which one it will be. I think it'll be one of the two. It could end up being. It will be both if they don't want to be. It's what I say to Newcastle fans. If they both decide they don't want to be there, your club will sell them. No club keeps players against their will nowadays. Rarely anyway, because it creates a bad atmosphere in the dressing room. And with the names of clubs that are interested in these individuals, I mean, Isak's got Arsenal looking at him, Barcelona looking at him. I know Newcastle were on a journey, but still, you know, Barcelona and Arsenal want you. If Man City want you, it's different level at this particular moment in time. And these aren't young players. These aren't 18, 19-year-olds. Do you know what I'm saying? They're in their mid, you know, with Bruno, 26. Is he 26, as you say? That's That's an age where can he genuinely afford at this point in his career, Bruno, to say no to a team that is in title races? Yeah, 26, turns 27 next season. Can he afford to say no to teams that are in title races in the Champions League? Can't. And that's not a dig at Newcastle. It's just the nature of the beast. And if Newcastle got their money at the same time City did, where they could spend whatever they want and build a squad very quickly, as City did, then fair enough, because you could go out this summer and buy 3-4 world-class players with the money you have. But they can't do that. They're already up against FFP now, which means they've got to sell to buy again. Yeah, I think Newcastle fans, this was always going to be a 5 to 10 year project to get you up to the very top and catch everybody. And part of that process is going to be losing some of the players you love. And I think they will have a casualty or two this summer. But I'm intrigued to see who gets it out of Arsenal and City. Because if you are getting Paqueta, I know they're friends, but I don't see both because of where they play, Rodri already being there. And I know KDB is getting towards the end, but what does it even mean what does that mean for Foden, who plays in the midfield role? Do you
Well, you got to think about this. Well, I think we're in for a huge summer, a bigger summer than anyone can imagine. Bernardo Silva's gone, so Paqueta would, in my opinion, would be replacing him. And I got a bad feeling about Kevin De Bruyne. These Saudi links, mate, every single day. Yeah, I'm seeing it. Saudis main target, Kevin De Bruyne, 100 million quid, still not signed a new contract. It honestly would not surprise me if Kevin De Bruyne leaves Manchester City this summer.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
In that case, then you do need an extra player. You know, you do, because then we're low. I think Phil Foden will finally get the keys. He will be the guy. But yeah, I have a bad feeling, man. I have a bad feeling about Kevin De Bruyne. I think he'll leave.
So I agree that Phil Foden will get the keys, and that's where I think Arsenal could have potentially an advantage when talking to Bruno, is if Foden gets the keys, Rodri's obviously a mainstay, Paqueta is someone they've chased, he'll be a part of the first team squad and play lots of games. But what Arsenal might be able to offer him is you're going to be in our first 11 to start, as opposed to fighting to be in the first team. That's the only area where I see Arsenal having
that's the only
advantage over City. That's not a dig at City. That's just looking at the maths of the situation, really.
That's the only advantage that we have got. That's hardly an advantage, really, because you go City and win stuff now, or you come to Arsenal, get first team football. But that's kind of where it was with Declan Rice. Was Declan Rice coming to Arsenal, knew he was going to be the main guy in that midfield, and had obviously been sold the dream or the project at Arsenal was the right move. And we're kind of hoping and praying that some of the others think that now, but it becomes very difficult when Man City are winning trophies and Arsenal aren't, for the player to look at that and go, Arsenal is the right place. We're going to win it one day. And that's why we need to start winning trophies. But I think Bruno Guimarães, Rice and Ødegaard, that's a phenomenal midfield. That's absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, let's just a striker and that's our 11 done, mate. Do you know what I mean? So that's where we're at.
Yeah, maybe some of the challenge Saka as well. Elise.
Yeah, yeah, man. Well, Saka is...
You are talking to Elise, though. I was told by someone today that someone wrote me here that Arsenal has spoken to Elise, although they like him, and they like him a lot. They said he's not a priority player right now.
How much is he going to be?
Midfield striker is, but you fan of Elise?
I like Elise a lot, but how much is he? And how injury prone is he? Like this is the problem.
Do you know what I do like? Or I don't think now he's better. Kudos at West Ham. I know Dan Lawless is probably watching. He's getting a few. Kudos is good.
I wanted him to. I wanted Kudos before West Ham got him, and we were. I believe we were sniffing around him. There's quite a few clubs: Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, and West Ham, all sniffing around him. And obviously West Ham got it in. Like Elise and Neto are the two that I look at, but they're both injury prone. Same with Isak, injury prone. This is the problem with these players. You spend a lot of money on them, and they come to the club already pretty injury prone. We know what Arsenal are like with their injuries. So yeah, I like Kudos a lot. But we do need, it's obvious what we need at Arsenal. We need another defender. We need someone from Saka, someone to cover in midfield, and we need a centre forward. And that's what we're going to have in the summer, man. Big time. But yeah.
Just quickly as well, Fabrizio said Liverpool have now had direct contact with Arne Slot as a candidate for the job. So it looks like they're actually
so he's part of the shortlist. Not quite hear what my guy says, where he says Fabrizio says Slot is set to be the new Liverpool manager. That's not what he said at all. Jesus Christ, that's an exaggeration and a half. But yeah, so he's again. It feels like what's coming out today is there's multiple managers that they are interviewing and talking to about the job, and they're going to decide who's best for them. And yeah, I mean Gary O'Neill, Slot's part of that. They look like they're going after a particular profile, though, of manager, don't they? A certain size, CV size, style of football, because there are no talks at the moment of Jose's, Conte's, anybody like that. So, Sam, I don't think you're going to get your wish, bro. I don't think you're going to get Jose football at your ground next year. Look, I want to thank everybody that's tuned in. I know Dan's got to shoot because he's got to get himself to London to watch the game tonight. We are live after Arsenal versus Chelsea, so make sure you're back here on the Football Terrace to react to that game, give us your thoughts and feelings. Dan, LB, always, gentlemen, a pleasure to sit and speak football with the two of you. To all of the viewers, the super chatters, everyone who's hit the like button, thank you. Take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon.